The first season of the series Hideout left behind a lot of open questions, so I, like everyone else, waited a long time for the continuation. When the first episode of the second season finally came out, I was disappointed not only by the events, but also by Juliet's choice. The thing is that when Juliet left her bunker, we were shown dozens of similar shelters nearby, and at first glance it seems that they are all the same, but the way the structures are arranged in relation to each other made me puzzle for a long time. You can notice that there is a certain sequence. Each bunker is located in the corner of its square, so each shelter has 3 neighboring ones. The others are quite far away, and they too form their own separate square. And we know that there is a tunnel at the very bottom where the drilling rig is. We saw it in the construction plan that was stored on the hard drive. It's the tunnel that George found before he died. Through this passage, you can get to another neighboring hideout, which is located in the same square. Everything is built strictly in a certain order, and you can't go underground to those bunkers, which are located in another square. Of course, Juliet doesn't know about it. Her plan is quite simple. She has found an open dead shelter, and she knows there must be a passage below. Unfortunately, the lower floors are flooded with water, but that's not the main problem. Juliet doesn't know it yet, but it's not the neighboring shelter she chose. If you look closely, all 3 of the neighboring bunkers we were shown at the end of season 1 don't have that graveyard of people. Juliet went outside and went in that direction, but the first shelter in her way is closed, and we can assume there are still people alive there. There is no mountain of corpses at the entrance, unfortunately, and there's no information as to what number bunker Juliet was able to enter, but we already know that she won't be able to get to her home through the tunnel, as the chosen structure uprising is in a completely different square. Of course, you can say that Juliet didn't choose anything, she was just trying to survive, and you'd be right, but the fact remains. She learned that the world outside is not what she thought it was, and rebellion is actually a very bad idea. It will lead to the death of all the people who live in the shelter. Just such an uprising is shown to us well at the beginning of the series. We see that these people have exactly the same information as Julieta's hiding place. They believe they are being deceived, so much so that they are willing to sacrifice everything just to find out the truth. The rebellion tale of every bunker is the same. They all don't know what happened, who built the bunker, when. They probably have the same rule about relics, and the library with the books was burned by the rebels. All of this makes it seem like the main purpose of the shelter isn't salvation. It would be much easier to give people all the information, but only the head of the IT department always has full control, and clearly he has someone giving him orders, and he must have a connection to the founders. It all reminds me of a big social experiment. Look at all the strange rules. Certain people are not allowed to have children. In the center of the shelter, there is a staircase leading to all floors, but no elevator. There is a clear communication problem between the lower floors and the upper floors. No magnifying lenses, while doctors can perform surgeries without special equipment. And most importantly, the choice of a partner is controlled by the system. Couples are selected by genetic analysis from strict measures. Of course, this helps avoid overpopulation problems and possible genetic mutations. But what if inside each of the bunkers they want to breed people with a certain gene pool, people with no hereditary diseases, a completely healthy generation? Then the second question arises, what should have happened in the world to make mankind in a hurry to build dozens of mega constructions, spend a huge fortune on construction, all the shelters are created at the same time, and for the rush there was not even time to remove the drilling system. The issue was definitely not about saving resources. The key thing in this story is time. The founders were definitely short of it. The world outside looks post-apocalyptic. The city on the horizon is dead. Otney ruins. Everything is built in the state of Georgia, and I think near the city of Atlanta. Throughout the events of the series, we are given hints repeatedly. First, the title of the book from the first season, Amazing Adventures in Georgia. Second, the first episode of the second season, the music Russell turned on, played by Johnny Marcel, a song about the author's childhood, who sings about living in the state of Georgia. Mega structures have been built in Georgia, but what happened to the world? At first I thought the world outside died from radiation, nuclear war, but then there would be devices inside every bunker that would measure radiation levels. How would the people living inside know if the radiation levels were decreasing or increasing? Perhaps the air has become toxic? Did all living organisms die out from some kind of chemical bomb? But then why would the founders try to create an absolute absolutely healthy generation. I think the problem is on the surface, a virus, some kind of incurable disease, and the first symptoms are blue cloudy eyes. If you look closely at Russell's eyes during the mutiny, you can see that his retinal color is green, but when he gets in touch with Juliet, his eyes are blue and the left one has become cloudy. After years in the bunker, something caused his retinas to change color. Another very important detail is the inscriptions and drawings in the mines where the rig is kept. In Juliet's flashbacks, we suddenly learn that as a teenager, she went down to the rig with her friend. And what do we see on the wall? Strange as it may seem, someone has painted a blue eye. It can't be a coincidence. It's a message left by the builders of the bunker. Blue eye color is the first sign of incurable disease. But then, why didn't we see anything like that in Sheriff Holston and his wife? Their eyes didn't change. I think Holston and anyone else who wants to go outside is being killed on purpose. Maybe some kind of gas is sprayed on the surface before the door opens. We know the suit is engineered, flawed. It's a clear sign of control. No one is allowed to leave the shelter. People come out, see a simulation of a green, blooming, living world in their helmet. They happily wipe the camera clean, hoping they too can see the beauty inside. The founders need time for the gas to seep inside the suit. Time wasted by the people who came out. They won't be able to get far and will die in front of everyone in the shelter. Everyone needs to see death, otherwise there might be doubts. The simulation, the camera wiping, the suit, it's all rigged. If the air outside was toxic, Juliet would have died in the new shelter. The door there was open, the air tightness is broken, but inside she can breathe safely. The air is actually breathable. The creators are clearly just poisoning people. Everything is under their control. The main, most likely reason for the shelter is terminal illness. There's a reason they showed us the eye color change and the drawings on the wall. Russell is definitely sick and possibly dangerous. His mental health is compromised. When he first meets Juliet, he doesn't ask the right questions. Where did she come from? How did she get into the bunker? He's not at all interested in what happened. Perhaps it's the effects of the isolation. He's lived in hiding by himself for a long time and has probably lost his mind, but not enough to be inadequate. Russell has not lost his mind. He is still trying to survive. The instinct of self-preservation is still working, and judging by his behavior and the fact that he is hiding in the room, his mind has not left him. Oddly enough, this room has a separate survival system, air ventilation, a generator, and a fairly large supply of food. My guess is that Russell has also held the position of head of IT in the past, and I'm sure he has connections to other hideouts. Otherwise, how did the people in Juliet's bunker know she was alive? The trailer clearly showed us that they know and are plotting their mutiny, so Juliet Nichols was able to contact them, but before she could tell them the truth, the world outside is dead. And actually, mutiny is a very bad idea. The founders have built dozens of shelters, deliberately deleted all information, and are trying to create a healthy generation of people because all of humanity is facing an incurable disease. The only chance is absolute immunity, people who won't be susceptible to the disease. The founders control the process as much as possible. They must have communication with each of the bunkers, giving orders to the head of IT, and all for the survival of humanity. Juliet must find a way to stop the rebellion. She needs to go back to her bunker and tell everyone or everyone will die. The lower floors are flooded, and even if she manages to create a semblance of scuba diving to get to the tunnel, she still won't be able to get back to her bunker. There's only one way out, to walk back to her home on the surface, and hope they let her back in. Well, if you have any good interesting thoughts, write them in the comments. I'll be waiting.